All right, good afternoon and welcome to my trade recap video for today. Today is August the 10th. It is Thursday. And if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is David Whiteley with ULTradez. And the purpose of this channel is to document my learning process and my journey to get 20 Apex accounts, evaluation accounts passed and funded. So today is going to be a short video because I have someplace to be and I don't have much time, and it was a really bad day today. So I'm a little annoyed. But I have three things I want to share real quickly. Again, we'll keep it short. One is I want to show you the A+ setup that I took. I'm going to show you an A+ setup that I did not take. And then thirdly, I'm going to show you a lesson that I learned today. I don't even have my P&L stuff all consolidated like I have been doing. So you'll have to forgive me for that. I'll try and get it together so I can have the whole thing for tomorrow. But overall, I was down like a lot. I think I was down $1,000 in several accounts. So not a good day at all, but here we go. So let's talk about the A+ setups. And part of the reason, for me, as I look back, part of the reason that I was down is because the markets just weren't cooperating. Like, they weren't moving right. Sometimes, some days they respect kind of the technicals, they respect the moving averages, and there's like a nice motion to the market. And some days it's not. Some days it's just kind of choppy and all over the place. And one of the things I need to learn is to stay out when it's choppy like that. It's just not worth it, right? You'd be better off just taking the day off rather than losing $1,000, which is easy to say after the fact, right? But the other thing is some markets run, not every instrument behaves the same every day. And so I watch oil first, and oil was not behaving today at all. And I didn't notice until later, a little bit later, that really ES was behaving itself quite well. So the A+ setup today that I want to highlight in ES, or was in ES, okay? And this one, actually, here, let me get rid of these. Use all my little lines here. I was just playing around with some stuff, so let me get those out of the way. All right. So this is the setup. We come into the open. All right, we poke up, we come down here, we test the 5-minute gold line, right? So price crosses over both moving averages, creates a very recent pivot high, and comes down. You could have looked at this as a decent entry because of the momentum coming up, but because this pivot high is not higher than this one, and it's pretty close, and it's pretty early in the open, that's the only reason I'm not designating it an A+ setup. But I mean, that would have worked perfectly fine, obviously. The next one, though, is an A+ setup in my book. So price comes up, creates a new high. You see this green line is the high of day. So we have a new high of day. Price moves down smoothly to the 1 minute 9 EMA is this gold line here. All right. This candle crosses below. So we place our order one tick above it. And then this candle comes down. We would place our order one tick above it. Now, part of this really annoys me. If anybody has a solution to this problem, there probably is one. So my indicator line here for the opening range puts this line, which matches up perfectly with the wick of this candle. So I have no idea where the wick of this candle is at. So assuming that this candle had no wick on top of it, we would move the entry to one tick above it. We'd get in here. So this shows where the entry would be. This red line here shows where 20 ticks would be, which is what our target would be on this trade. Gets there, I mean, very quickly. So perfect, amazing trade. Now, I know there's a lot of you watching who are students of Bob Anderson's strategy, which is what this is. And so I'm kind of curious. Let me know if you took this trade or one of the others, or this next one I'm going to mention, because I mean, that was a beautiful setup. Had I been watching ES, I would have taken this one, because it was kind of funny. One of the things today that was not a problem for me was getting into trades. Like, I got into trades without hesitation when they matched up and met the criteria. They just didn't work that well where I was trying them. And I'll talk about that here in 2 seconds when I discuss the lesson that I learned. So hold on. Let me delete this line, and this line, because we don't need them. Here's the A+ setup that I did take. All right, so here price has come down, I mean, pretty dramatically, right? From the high here. And we're just coming down. And we see price isn't really behaving, right? It comes above the 1-minute 9 EMA. It does not touch the 5-minute 9 EMA. Comes down, comes above the 1-minute 9 EMA and above the 5-minute 9 EMA. No trade. It comes down and it just dawdles. Now we're down to the overnight open, which, right, that's significant resistance here. You can see it really gets hung up in this area for, you know, what, from 10:50 to 12:20, so an hour and a half or so. But price comes down here, creates a low. And this is right at the end of kind of lunch hour, which is kind of nice, but it creates this low and it kind of meanders up. And, you know, you see this three pattern, right? You've got a high, one pullback, a second high pullback, a third high, and that's when it drops, which also happens to coincide with a nice clean touch of this 5-minute 21 EMA, this red line here. It also corresponds to the kind of this lower line on the open range box, which it doesn't quite touch, but, you know, that gives us a little bit extra conviction there. I got a little bit of, oh no, I'm thinking of a different trade. I did not get slippage on this one. So the entry would have been 55.04, one tick below this little doji candle right here. 20 ticks would have been this red line, and you can see in this case, boy, it just plummets. So if you were nice and disciplined and wanted to just move your target order way down and just trail your stop one tick behind the candles, you know, that would have been a nice trade. I don't know, 40 ticks or something. I got out at 10 ticks, which is what my ATM was set up to do. And that was the A+ setup that I did take. So what were the lessons that I learned? Well, one of the things that I struggle with is managing my trade while I'm in my trade. So I actually went back and I looked and I said, okay, how many trades did I take that met my criteria perfectly? And I had, and this is across all instruments, and I had 8. That's too many trades. Okay. Now, some of these that I entered probably were not A+ setups, but technically they met the criteria, so I took them. So had I left my stop loss at 10 ticks below my entry, no trail, just left it there, and then left my target at 20 ticks, I wanted to go back and see how many of those would have stopped out and how many would have hit the 20 ticks. Okay. There were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that would have stopped out at 10 ticks. Okay. Again, price is pretty choppy, so that's a big part of that reason. And 3 of them would have gone for the full 20 ticks. Several of them, including the one I just showed you, would have gone for much more if you'd been looking for it. So had I just done that on 8 trades that were perfect, that met the criteria of my trade plan perfectly, I would have been up 10 ticks, right? So not like a stellar day at all, but it would have been a green day. Well, I don't know, after commissions, maybe it would have been break even, but you get what I'm saying. So that's the lesson that I learned. I need to manage my trades better. Like I said, today I was able to get into them just fine, but my management wasn't great. And then I did kind of go off. There were two accounts that I traded by themselves, and it was kind of like throwing some Hail Mary shots to see if they would work, and they didn't. So that's kind of what I expected. You know, normally those don't pay off. So that's what I have today. So rough day. Hopefully your day was a lot better. Like I said, if you trade this strategy, let me know if you took one of these 2 trades that I highlighted today. I'd just be curious to see if anybody else saw those or you know, agrees with my assessment of those entries. So anyway, that's what I've got for you today. Remember, be patient, trade your plan, trade safe. I'm talking to me here, and we'll see you tomorrow.